Hi again, and Merry Christmas. So I'm reading another story from Joy to the World by Tomie de Paulo. And this is The Legend of the Poinsettia. And you'll remember the poinsettias, they come out around Christmas time every year and are sold in stores. They don't grow wild in Alaska by any means. And this story reminds me of a saying that George Washington Carver had, and he would say, "A weed is a flower planted in the wrong place." And it's a saying I really like. A weed is a flower planted in the wrong place. And it also really talks about the legend of the poinsettia, a weed being a flower planted in the wrong place. Lucida lived in a small village high up in the mountains of Mexico with her mama, her papa, her younger brother and sisters Paco and Lupe. Papa worked every day in the fields with their burro, Pepito. Every evening, Lucindo fed Pepito and gave him fresh water and filled his stall with clean straw. I'm sure you take care of your animals like that too. At home, Lucinda helped her mama clean the casita, their little home, and pat out the tortillas for their meal. She took care of Paco and Lupe, and each evening they went to the shrine of the Virgin of Guadalupe near the front gate to see if fresh candles were needed. Sounds like they were very busy. But every day was not work. On Sundays, the family went to San Gabriel in the square where Padre Alvarez said Mass. And all through the year there were fiestas and holy days, which always began with a procession that wound through the village and ended at San Gabriel. One day, close to Christmas, La Navidad, Padre Alvarez came to the casita. "Ah, Senor Martinez, buenos dias, good day," Padre Alvarez said. "I'm here to ask you about the blanket which covers the figure of baby Jesus at the Christmas procession. We have used the same one for many years and it is almost worn out. Because your weaving is so fine, I have come to ask you to make a new one." "Mi padre," Lucida's mom said. "I would be honored, and Lucida will help me." That is very exciting, but I wonder what the blanket has to do with poinsettias. On Saturday, Lucida and Mama went to the market to buy a wool for the blanket. They chose the finest yarn they could find. At home, Lucida helped Mama dye the wool in color of the rainbow. "Those colors will shine throughout the church," Papa said as he watched Lucida and Mama string the yarn on the loom. As Christmas drew closer, everyone in the village was busy. All the mamas were making gifts to place at the manger of the baby Jesus in church. The papas worked together, putting up the manger scene in San Gabriel. Lucida and the other children went to church for singing practice for the Christmas Eve procession, when everyone could walk to San Gabriel singing and carrying candles. Once inside, Padre Alvarez would lay the figure of baby Jesus in the manger, and the villagers would go up and place their gifts around it. "Our gift will be the blanket for the baby Jesus," Lucida told her friends. "I am helping Mother weave it." One afternoon, a few days before Christmas Eve, Lucida and the children were singing in the church when Senora Gomez came hurrying in. "Lucida, you must come home. Your mama is sick and your papa has taken her down to the town to see the doctor. You must care for your brother and sister until your papa returns tonight." Lucida was frightened. Mama had never been sick before. When she got home, Paco and Lupe were crying. They were frightened too. Lucida tried to comfort them. She made them food and sat down to wait for Papa. That evening, Papa came in, looking tired and worried. He drew Lucita close and said, Lucita, mi niña, your mama is ill. Your Aunt Tia Carmen will take care of Mama until she is well, but I must go back and stay with Mama. Until I can bring her home. It won't be until after Christmas. Senora Gomez will take care of you and Paco and Lupe while I am gone. She will come for you tomorrow. The next afternoon, Lucita overheard two women talking. Lucita's mom is ill. She won't be able to finish the blanket in time for the procession. Isn't it a shame? Si, said the other woman. We are all so disappointed. Padre Alvarez will have to use the old, worn-out one. When Lucita went home to feed Pepito and get clothes for Paco and Lupe and herself, she looked at the unfinished blanket on the loom. Perhaps I can finish it, she thought, but when she sat down and tried to weave, the yarn got tangled. The more she tried to untangle it, the worse it got. It was no use. She could never finish it by herself. And there's the loom, all tangled up. She took the unfinished blanket to Senora Gomez. Oh, Lucita, it is so tangled. There isn't time for me to fix it, Senora Gomez told her. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. Lucita started to cry. It was her fault the blanket was ruined. Her family wouldn't have a gift to place under the manger for the baby Jesus. Don't worry, Lucita. We will go to the procession together. Lucita didn't say anything, but in her heart, she felt that she had ruined Christmas. Come, Paco, come, Lupe. It is time to go to the procession. Senora Gomez called on Christmas Eve. Where's Lucita? She was nowhere to be found. Lucita was hiding. From the shadows, Lucita watched everyone gather for the procession. The candles were lit. The singing began. The villagers walked to San Gabriel, carrying gifts to place in the manger. Lucita walked along in the darkness and watched the procession go into the church, followed by Padre Alvarez carrying the baby Jesus. Little girl, are you Lucita? An old woman stood in the shadows nearby. Si, Lucita answered, wondering who she is. I have a message for you. Your mama is going to be fine, and your papa will bring her home soon. So don't worry. Now go to the church and celebrate Christmas with the others. Paco and Lupe are waiting for you. I can't. Lucita told her, I don't have a gift for the baby Jesus. Mama and I were weaving a beautiful blanket, but I couldn't finish it. I tried, but I only tangled it up. Oh, Lucita, any gift is beautiful because it is given. The old woman told her, whatever you give, the baby Jesus will love because it comes from you. But what can I give now? What can I give now? Lucita asked, looking around. And if you look around, what is there? A patch of tall green weeds grew in a tangle nearby. Lucita rushed over and picked up an armful. Do you think these will be all right? Lucita turned to ask the old woman, but she was gone. Lucita walked into the church. It was blazing with candlelight, and the children were singing as she walked quietly down the aisle with a bundle of green weeds in her arm. What is Lucita carrying? The women whispered. Why is she bringing weeds into the church? Another murmured. Lucita reached the manger. She placed the green weeds around the stable. She lowered her head and prayed. A hush fell over the church. Voices began to whisper. Look at the weeds. Lucita opened her eyes and looked up. Each weed was tipped with a flaming red star. The manger glowed and shimmered as if by 100 candles. When everyone went out after Mass, all the clumps of tall green weeds throughout town were shining with red stars. Lucida's simple gift had indeed become very beautiful. And every Christmas to this day, the red stars shine on green branches in Mexico. The people call the plants La Flor de Nochebuena, the flower of the Holy Night, the poinsettia. And that's the story of the poinsettia. You can see how it would remind me of the saying, a weed is a flower planted in the wrong place. Everyone thought that the poinsettia was a weed until Lucida gave it to the baby Jesus as a gift.